Hi friends! Before you trust your blood pressure, I want to show you something. This is my friend's actual morning reading. She felt completely normal, no headache, no dizziness, no tightness in her chest, nothing that would signal danger. Yet, the number was high enough to quietly damage her arteries, her brain, and her kidneys for years without her even realizing it. And here's what surprised her the most. After doing just one simple thing at home, something anyone can do, her top number dropped by 40 points in just 30 minutes. Now, she didn't change her medications, and she didn't take a supplement, and she didn't even drink something special. She simply moved her body. And what happened next is the reason I'm making this video today. She finally realized that her morning blood pressure is the most important reading of the entire day. It's not the one at the doctor's office. It's not the one after lunch. It's certainly not the one at the pharmacy machine. It's your morning number because it reveals the pressure your arteries live under before life, food, and stress starts interfering. If your baseline is already high, then you're only going to add to it with life. And most people, they don't know this. Most people trust that the one reading they get once a year on a physical exam is good enough. They assume that number represents their usual blood pressure, but blood pressure is dynamic. It shifts throughout the day, sometimes hour by hour. And the quiet early morning window before caffeine, before movement, and before the stress of life is a moment your blood vessels tell you the truth about how well they're handling life. And that number is a baseline pressure that your heart has to push against every single day. And when that's elevated, even slightly, your arteries experience microscopic damage that accumulates over time, like tiny scratches inside a pipe. Yeah, you're not going to feel that. You're not going to even see that, but your body will experience it every day. Now, my friend only discovered this after a very scary morning. One day she woke up with a pounding headache. I'm talking about the kind where it feels like there's a heartbeat inside your skull, a deep throbbing and unignorable headache. And she tried to tell herself, it was just stress, or maybe some dehydration, or maybe she slept wrong. But something in her gut told her that it wasn't normal. So she took her blood pressure at home, and the number flashed so high that she panicked. She grabbed her purse and then she drove herself to the emergency room. And even in the ER, she kept telling the nurse, I felt totally okay yesterday. And that's exactly the point. High blood pressure rarely gives warnings. It quietly builds up until one day your body just hits that limit. So after that scare, she became committed to understanding her numbers. She bought a new blood pressure cuff and she began tracking her readings morning, lunch, and evening. And that's when she noticed something she had never considered. Her early morning blood pressure was consistently higher than her afternoon blood pressure, and sometimes by a lot. The more she understood how her body behaved, eating out raised her next morning blood pressure. Not sleeping well raised her morning blood pressure. And stress from work, from life, it would raise her morning blood pressure. And of course, drinking alcohol raised the morning blood pressure. And then she realized that when she didn't drink enough, when she skipped water before bed, it actually made her spike even higher. Now, this pattern isn't unique to her. In fact, it's incredibly common. It comes down to something fundamental that most people, they just don't understand. And they don't realize what their blood pressure looks like during the single most important hours of the day, the early morning. And if you don't know what your numbers are doing in the morning, well, you're missing the biggest clue your body is trying to give you. So let's talk about why morning blood pressure matters. Your blood pressure is just not random. Your body follows a rhythm that has existed for thousands of years, your circadian rhythm. Heard about that? Around 4 to 8 a.m., your body is preparing you to wake up. And it begins releasing cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, and other hormones to get you to feel awake. I mean, you're literally going from pretty much deep sleep to being alert. And as your hormone surges, it actually constricts your blood vessels slightly. It increases your heart rate and it tells your liver to release more glucose for your morning energy. And so this is beautifully orchestrated. It's a biological process that all of us have. But if your arteries are stiffened, if they're inflamed or clogged with plaque, that natural morning surge doesn't become helpful, but can be very harmful. Because when your blood pressure spikes sharply, that window of time, you may not feel it until it's too late. You might feel a little tired or anxious or hungry, but honestly, most people feel nothing at all. And this is why heart attacks, strokes, and arrhythmias occur quite often in the morning. It's not because the mornings are inherently dangerous, but it's because your vascular system is worn out and is under the highest pressure load at that time. Imagine yourself squeezing a garden hose with water pressure turned up. If the hose is flexible and new, well, it handles the pressure just fine. But if the hose is old, stiff, cracked, or weakened, it's more likely to break and squirt water. That's exactly what happens to arteries under pressure. And if that artery is in your brain, you get a stroke. Now, let's connect this to your real life. Have you ever noticed that on mornings when you wake up rushed, late for a meeting, maybe your alarm didn't go off, or your kids need help to get ready for school, you feel your heart pounding, right? Maybe you feel warm, flustered, irritable, or anxious, even though nothing really bad has happened. That's your sympathetic nervous system kicking in. And if you take your blood pressure at that time, you may find that it's going to be more elevated. And you will get to see the consequences in real time. There's actually a simple technique I teach all my patients, and when they wake up, I tell them not to jump out of bed immediately. Sit at the edge of your bed for about 60 seconds, and then let your body recalibrate. Let your blood redistribute, and take some deep breaths. Nice and slow. Start your day off slowly and intentionally. And then always drink a full glass of water, because overnight you may be dehydrated, which actually raises your blood pressure. In fact, even a 1% drop in hydration can increase your blood pressure by tightening your blood vessels. And dehydration also increases blood viscosity. After you've done that, measure your blood pressure, especially before drinking coffee. Caffeine can stimulate your blood pressure. And honestly, I would wait an hour after you wake up, because caffeine blocks a molecule called adenosine, which normally signals your brain that it's time to rest. And when you block adenosine, you do feel more alert, but caffeine also stimulates adrenaline to release. And this is not the moment to judge your baseline reading on caffeine, especially if you want to know your blood pressure off coffee. Remember to check it without drinking coffee. Otherwise, you're going to be measuring a stimulated blood pressure that could tell you whether or not you should be drinking the coffee. So let's go back to my friend with the 40-point drop. She did something so simple. She moved. She walked up and down her stairs for about 30 minutes, and her blood pressure dropped dramatically. Why? Because movement triggers nitric oxide release in your blood vessels. Nitric oxide relaxes and widens your arteries, reducing pressure. Think about it like widening a road. The more room means you have less congestion. And the same applies to your arteries. When you move your muscles, especially your legs, they act like a pump that pushes blood back to your heart. This way, your heart doesn't have to work as hard, and your blood pressure can calm down. Most people underestimate the power of gentle movement. They think they need to do intense workouts, heavy weights, and cardio machines to make a difference in their blood pressure. But the truth is that consistent, light, everyday movements, walks, stair climbing, stretching, light yoga, can have one of the most profound impacts on your blood pressure. But her story didn't end there. As she tracked her readings over weeks, she noticed a pattern she never expected. Eating out raised her blood pressure the next morning. And that happened every time, even when she thought she was ordering something healthy. And this is simply because restaurant food, even the salads, they're loaded with salt, with oil, with high-calorie flavor enhancers. And the sodium content in a single restaurant meal can exceed 1,500 milligrams without you even realizing it. And when your body gets overloaded with sodium, it retains water. Your blood vessels tighten, and your blood pressure rises, especially the next morning. This is why I always tell people, if you're trying to control your blood pressure, cook most of your meals at home. And that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the occasional outside treat, but you should be aware of what they're serving you. Don't forget to drink water, and you should consider asking for sauces on the side. I would avoid the deli meats as well as the breads, because they are quite salty. And you'll be surprised that when you give your kidneys the support they need to get rid of the excess sodium, they will repay you back in health dividends. And this topic on blood pressure is personal for me, because my mom, she had high blood pressure for years before she had dementia. And I watched her journey towards the end of her life with dementia. It is not a pleasant journey to watch. And many people don't realize that vascular dementia is directly tied to chronic high blood pressure. And when blood pressure runs high for years, these tiny arteries in the brain become damaged. They stiffen, they clog, they lose flexibility, and eventually parts of the brain don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need. Memory starts fading, processing slows, and perspective begins to change. Now, even Alzheimer's has a vascular component to their disease. So when I talk about protecting blood pressure, I'm talking about protecting your future independence and your ability to think clearly for decades to come. So now, let's talk about the foods that can lower blood pressure. These foods aren't exotic and they come from nature. And the first food that far too many people don't eat is flax seeds. Flax seeds, especially ground up, have been shown to lower blood pressure as effectively as some medications. Now, they do contain lignans, omega-3 fatty acids, and fiber, all of which help to reduce inflammation, improve arterial function, and elasticity in the blood vessels. I personally would add my ground flax seeds to oatmeals, to smoothies, and even to soups. It is one of the simplest daily habits you can adapt.
Hi, friends. I am so thrilled that you want to take charge of your health and take charge of your food. Now, I know nutrition can be complex, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm here to support you in this lifelong journey. So if you point your camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you. And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes and then you can leave me your feedback on what I could do to help you in your journey. Okay, back to the video now.
Now, next is arugula. Along with other dark leafy greens, arugula has 4 times more nitrates than beets. Your body converts these nitrates into nitric oxide, the molecule that relaxes your blood pressure. Eating arugula daily can make a meaningful difference in your blood pressure numbers. And leafy greens, in general, they're just all rich with magnesium, a mineral most people are deficient in because our soil today is so heavily depleted and people aren't eating leafy greens. Magnesium is essential for relaxing the smooth muscles in your blood vessel walls. And without enough magnesium, your arteries will stay tighter and your blood pressure will go up. Honestly, I don't take a chance with my health, and that's why I supplement with the optimal type of magnesium in my supplement. Another incredibly powerful food is hibiscus tea. This bright red tea naturally lowers blood pressure by relaxing blood vessels and supporting your kidney function. And in clinical trials, hibiscus tea has been shown to work just as well as low-dose NACPro, a common prescription blood pressure medication. And it has side benefits, antioxidants, better skin, improved hydration, rather than all the side effects of prescription medications. That doesn't mean to stop your prescriptions. You really should be working with your own medical doctor. Before I show you how to measure your blood pressure correctly, we do need to talk about sodium. Sodium is the #1 dietary driver of high blood pressure. It's not sugar, folks, and it's not your fat, it's sodium. And Americans consume far more sodium than they actually need, and mostly from prepackaged foods, from restaurant meals, deli meats, breads, cheeses, soups, and condiments. Now, you could avoid salt shaker completely and still overconsume sodium every day because of the foods that you eat. And if you want to lower your blood pressure naturally, sodium awareness has to become a part of your daily habits. And in fact, a good rule of thumb is to get a 5-to-1 ratio in sodium to calories. So this means a food with 100 calories should have less than 200 milligrams of sodium. And of course, the best options has less than 150 milligrams. And you definitely shouldn't be avoiding foods where sodium exceeds calories. And this rule is a place to start to prevent overconsuming hidden sodium. Now, keep in mind that if you are on high blood pressure medications, then follow your doctor's instructions. Medications absolutely work and often save lives, but they are not the cure. They are a tool, and they lower blood pressure by targeting specific pathways, maybe calcium channels or ACE receptors or beta receptors or diuretics that help the kidneys release excessive fluids. But medications, they all have side effects because they push the body towards a balance rather than teaching the body how to find the balance on their own. And this is why many people end up needing 2 or 3 medications as they age, because the underlying lifestyle hasn't changed. They've been told, in a sense, the wrong information. However, it can work too well and bottom your blood pressure, right? Because your medications are all or none. Recently, there was someone in my church who passed out in front of me. She actually took her blood pressure medication before she came to Bible study. Now, the problem was she was already having diarrhea, so her blood pressure was lower. And when you take blood pressure medications on top of not feeling well, sometimes that can work too well and keep you low, so low that you may pass out. This is why if you're going to make any dietary changes or your lifestyle change, talk to your personal medical doctor and know exactly how to measure your blood pressure and when you should stop, back off, or increase. Now, let me show you how to measure your blood pressure correctly. And this part really matters because, you want to make sure that your sleeve isn't too long, that it needs to be above the level of your cuff, not on top or underneath your cuff. Otherwise, reading can be inaccurate. And the artery marker on this cuff should also line up with the artery in your inner arm. Like you'll see your blood vessel, so you know that the artery is somewhere there. And your arm should really rest on the table or pillow or somewhere at heart level, right? It shouldn't just be lower because that can give you a false reading. And normally people say uncross your legs and sit quietly for at least a few minutes. And you don't want to be talking to your reading or shaking your leg, that kind of stuff, right? Just sit still for a few minutes. And it's important to check both arms. It's normal that your left and your right arms may have slightly different numbers. What matters is that you know what your numbers are at baseline so that you can track your changes over time. So this is my blood pressure meter, and if you notice, all blood pressure cuffs, they have a mark where to line that up with your artery, and it's usually in the middle of your arm. When you seal the cuff, it should be snug. If it's not snug, then it's not going to take an accurate reading. So it can't be loose. There should be no clothing underneath the cuff, right? And then I'm going to rest it right here on top of my meter because it's about heart level. And then I'm going to press start. Okay, so my blood pressure is 92/66/71. And I've checked my blood pressure quite a few times with you folks because, I know it's low. It's usually in the 90s. One time I had barely below 90. And that's my normal blood pressure because I exercise just about every day. And I'm a very active person. I keep my diet low in salt. But I don't feel bad for having this blood pressure. However, if you're not used to having a low blood pressure and you get a abnormally low number, like under 100, you should really talk to your doctor to make sure that your medications aren't too strong for you, or that maybe you're dehydrated, or if something is changing in your life, maybe you're having diarrhea or throwing up. Those are all warrant a conversation with your own personal medical doctor. So be sure to do that. If you want to understand your blood pressure patterns, make sure to check it more than once a day. I would recommend maybe even 4 times a day, morning, lunch, evening, nighttime, for at least a week. Especially write down what you ate. Now write how you slept, how many hours, if you slept well, whether you've exercised, whether you felt stressed, and you will quickly see patterns emerge. You'll see what raises your numbers and what lowers them. And once you kind of know your triggers, you can control your blood pressure by avoiding your triggers, right? Or mitigating them. And your morning blood pressure is really your body's daily report card. It tells you how your arteries are aging, and it reveals whether or not your lifestyle is supporting healthy aging or harming your vascular system. It really gives you the earliest, long before you have your first heart attack or stroke or kidney problems or whatever complications that may occur because of poor blood flow. And when you change your lifestyle, you will see that your morning numbers will improve and your long-term health, therefore, will significantly improve. It's really that simple. But did you know that your blood sugars can also affect your blood pressure too? If you want to learn more about that, watch the next video.